I felt really betrayed. I'm like, this is our community. This is where our kids are involved, and they're not going to send anything out and let us know, like, hey, like, this is what's going on here.
They say have compassion for the drug addict, and I get that. But I say have compassion for these neighbors, have compassion for these families, these business owners, and have compassion for the kids that are around this neighborhood. There's a ballpark right here and the Boys and Girls Clubs.
Addiction can lead to crime. Addiction leads to homelessness. And in a beautiful community like this with children, we don't want to take a chance.
So what's your sign say?
It says, victims and addicts need care, you NIMBY trash.
Katie Daviscourt reporting for Rebel News here in Linwood, Washington, where parents are going to war against the state's decision to install an opioid clinic right near a children's daycare facility. They say that they were not warned by the city's decisions and are concerned for the safety of their children, as these clinics often bring an added increase in crime to the community.
The state of Washington, back in March, they started looking at putting a health clinic in here by Acadia, but they didn't let the city council know until December 19th, the last minute. They said they're going to open it up at the end of the month. It's just a shady backroom type of deal. The mayor knew about it, the state knew about it, but they let everyone, the community, know at the last second, and the city council at the last second. And if you can see by the amount of people around here today, this is a huge outcry of not having this project here. So we're here to help and support that.
So you are organizing these protests. What brought you to that?
I think just because we found out very late, we were caught off guard as a concerned mom, concerned resident. As we get to know more about the provider, how the process was set up, and how they deliberately tried to lie and conceal the fact. And I just think that we should raise more awareness and fight back. They truly should not be allowed to do that, to force the community to bear the consequences.
What's your concerns with the clinic?
There are so many concerns with the clinic. The location is just not right. It doesn't provide the support that these patients need. It doesn't have a good local support infrastructure. It's far from the main essential services they need. It's very close to a Boys and Girls Club, on the other hand. The existing Basel location that they're trying to move this from actually was located in a completely industrial zone. And it was enclosed within the industrial area that there's no access to residential, there's no access to schools, and has a lot of parking and good local support. And this is completely different from that. This location is on the border of Linwood City and Snohomish County. If you cross the street, that side is the county, this side is the city. And there's already people around this border, live here, have problem getting police support because we get kicked around.
Well, it's a concern because they're literally across the street from city limits, and there's no police presence. They can't guarantee us that the clientele that they're going to bring in that our kids are going to be safe from that. We are in support of these people getting help, but somewhere else and through a different company.
Yeah, and what are your thoughts?
Well, like, we have the Little League that's pretty much in the backyard of this clinic that's going in. Every year they have a cleanup. They ask all the parents, as a part of your participation, you have to come out and clean up. And we find needles every year, and I got little kids that I'm concerned about. Like, I don't know, is that going to be, increasing twice-fold, quadruple? Our kids are playing on those fields. They're outside at the Boys and Girls Club, and we live down the street. So my concern is, like, where's going to be the protection? Where's going to be the security for our kids that are right here? And so we just want to protect our kids is why we ended up coming out and showing our support for this.
This kind of behavior is deceiving, and they are purposefully lying for the public, lying for us. And I hate that. I want to fight back. I want to stand on my ground and send a message to them that they cannot do it. We have power to reject it.
So you are counter-protesting. Why you're out here?
I'm out here because we need to have adequate treatment centers. We need to have adequate health care for folks. And there is a gross lack of support for addicts, for victims. And I've just seen a lot of crap in my time growing up around here, where people just sort of jump on a bandwagon and decide something's bad because it negatively impacts their real estate prices.
So what are your thoughts on this clinic going in next to the Boys and Girls Club and the Little League?
I spent a lot of time at the Alderwood Boys and Girls Club. I worked to keep them off drugs, I guess. So, we have laws in place. We have laws in place that help prevent. Let's see.
Do you see why they're out here concerned about this clinic going in by their kids?
I think that if you look around at the signs that they're bringing around, you're looking at a whole bunch of people that are carrying signs that talk about profit over people. But if you ask any one of these people if they support universal health care to actually bring profit out of the system, we don't know how they feel about that. But I bet my left thumb I could guess. So
So what's your sign say?
It says, victims and addicts need care, you NIMBY trash.
We support compassionately the heck that people are going through who suffer addiction. Let me just say my background, not me with addiction, but understanding that my brothers suffered from addiction. I used to get on the ferry, and I know people will use that against me, but I used to get on the ferry to McNeil Island to visit my brother who was in prison because he was addicted and turned to crime. I lost my nephew 3 weeks ago, a fentanyl overdose. So when we talk about compassion and having these centers to help our citizens, our children, our family members to get clean, that's what we should all want. And we all support that. But there's a better way to do it. And I believe what all of you are talking about right here is this. When you conduct a project management one-on-one is you do open and honest discussion before you start your project, so that you can solicit the feedback from the people who will be impacted by your product. Oh, I came from Eastern Washington. I drove 4 hours across the pass to support a great event. This is an event to peacefully protest with love, to support the community, because the elected officials of this community saw fit to put a methadone clinic right next to a Boys and Girls Club. And again, we're compassionate for those who are suffering with addiction, but at the same time, we have to respect and value the citizens of our community, and we need to protect our children. So I came over here to give a voice of support, to let them know that the whole state is behind you. This is a statewide issue, even though it originates right here in this community, because this is happening across the state, where elected officials forget who they work for and that they work for and serve the people of their communities.
Yes.
Addicts. You have addicts living
And you spoke earlier about how your siblings were struggling with addiction.
Yes.
What's going to happen if a clinic goes in like this next to kids' facilities?
Well, you cannot predict the future. But when we understand those who are suffering from addiction, and that addiction, as I know and lived in my own life with my own family, addiction can lead to crime. Addiction leads to homelessness. And in a beautiful community like this with children, we don't want to take a chance of it putting an environment in which dealers may come to take advantage of those folks who are trying to get away from drugs.
Is the city listening to you guys?
So the city of Linwood, the city mayor's administration, someone in their department approved the permit without telling anybody, including the city council members, including the public. The mayor is insisting that she didn't know until the council knew, and that everybody in her department, in her administration, was doing everything right within the Linwood Municipal Code. Where we truly question that is true. We truly question why someone under her just didn't choose to tell anybody. Something like this, a methadone center opening up is a big thing that should be raised until the highest level of the city council and the mayor's office. And there's a lot of broken communication in that process.
Do you think the city's listening to the people?
Well, the city council's definitely is listening to people. You talked to the one council member who wrote a letter to it, but the mayor's definitely not listening, and definitely the state of Washington's not listening in Acadia. And so the state, this project still can be stopped. The Washington State Department of Health does not issue the permit. So I hope they're listening, and I hope the mayor's listening. I hope the mayor's watching the news tonight and seeing all these people here. This community does not want this project here. And what I said earlier is they say have compassion for the drug addict, and I get that, but I say have compassion for these neighbors, have compassion for these families, these business owners, and have compassion for the kids that are around this neighborhood. There's a ballpark right here and a Boys and Girls Club. This is the wrong place for this project.
I want to see the city just have an open and honest conversation and say, yeah, it was kind of backhanded. It was kind of underhanded. We didn't have enough conversation and we didn't take community input. I didn't hear about this until Vivian put it all together and was just emailing out and had a next door group on it. And I felt really betrayed. I'm like, this is our community. This is where our kids are involved. And they're not going to send anything out and let us know, like, hey, like, this is what's going on here. Like, I'm in full support of treatment. Like, I understand that that's a community need. I've seen it be successful in places like Bremerton. And it would be successful here in Linwood. But let's put it near where all the people need the treatment, not down the road on a busy road and just say that that's good when we're, literally like 2 businesses over from the Boys and Girls Club and the Alderwood Little League.
Well, there you have it. These parents do have some serious and valid concerns. So I guess we're just going to have to wait and see how the city reacts. I'm Katie Daviscourt for Rebel News. If you would like to support independent journalism and believe that it is crucial to share the other side of the story, please go to rebelnewsusa.com and consider making a donation. We are 100% crowdfunded by the viewers as we pride ourselves on not taking a dime from the government. Again, rebelnewsusa.com. Thank you guys.